Hi there, it's Steph. Thanks for popping by. So today I'm sharing with you some sort of no-line coloring. I say some sort because they are layering stamps, so they don't actually have lines per se. The way I do it, I first stamp the first layer with very light Altenew crisp ink, which is what I have, but if you have another brand, I'm sure it works fine as well. The Copic marker will cover it anyway. Then I eyeball I draw, eyeballing drawing, I'm not sure how to say it, the second layer, and then I do the first thing with the third layer, and every time I use the color that I want for that layer. So very light yellow, medium yellow, and actually I went with a light orange for the third layer, and the fourth layer will be a darker orange. And then I just fill in the gaps. So I color the first layer was full with the ink. The second layer I add the darker yellow, then the third layer the darker orange. And then I scribble my darker orange on a piece of laminated paper, and I pick it up with my darker yellow, and I start, it's kind of feathering, I suppose, in a way. So I start doing little, very soft, gentle flick of Copic, because you have to pick up the color quite quickly, because obviously it goes, once the orange is gone from the yellow marker, the yellow comes back. I mean, it's great because, you get a really good blend, but you have to pick up the color quite regularly. And I do the same thing then. I use the lightest marker, and I pick up the yellow from the second layer, and I do the same thing. It's just a tiny little feathering motion. Then I use my darker orange, and I drew the middle of the flower. I'm not sure how it's actually called. And then I used my lighter orange, and I do that feathering motion again. And once I'm done with that, I go on to doing the purple flower. So I only showed you one because they both work exactly the same way. So I stamped in very light purple. I used my marker to color the lightest shade, so the first layer. Then I used my, it's not quite medium, it's just the second color, the second purple. And then I draw the third purple layer, and then I fill in the blanks. I'm not explaining it very well, but hopefully the image talks enough that you understand what I mean. Once I'm done with coloring, I start feathering and blending. So I use the lightest marker, and I pick up the color of the second layer, so the second, not quite darker, the second color, and I start feathering, and I just go round and round, and then I scribble the darker purple, and I pick up with the medium purple, and I start feathering. And when I'm done with all of that, I use an even darker purple, so that would be my fourth darkest shade of purple. And I go around and I do the third layer again a little bit. That's it. Just to kind of intensify it a little bit, because I thought my three purples were a bit too close to each other, so I thought I needed something a little bit darker. So once I'm done with all the flowers, I'm drawing my little leaves all around my card. And, I put two, you can put one. There's another leaf in that set, but it's up to you, you pick what you want. And then I kind of draw the second layer of the leaf with a slightly darker marker, but not that, I mean, it's not that much darker. But then I use a third darker marker. I use the word dark a lot in that video, and I just intensify near the flower, so it looks like the flower is shading the leaves. And when I'm done with that, I then use my lighter marker to go, I color the whole leaf, and then I start feathering again with the middle color. So I hope my explanation is clear enough. I'm not doing so great. I should probably use the actual numbers of the markers, but I do want to, if you don't have the colors I have, it's okay. I'm sure you have 3 shades of something that would work perfectly fine for a leaf, so that's kind of why I'm not very often giving marker colors. So you see there, I thought it needed a little more dimension, so I added a bit more of that darker color. Using my third purple, I picked up the fourth purple to kind of blend it again in the leaves. And you see, it was not much, but it adds enough that I think it looks nice already. Then I go into my shading. I do love my shading. You may have seen it because I do it everywhere. There I use the cool grey markers. I'm sure it would work fine if you have the other grey markers. It's just that's the one I have. So I use the 7, then the 5, then the 3, and then the first one. And I go around, so I kind of imagine that the light comes from the top right corner of that card, and I base my shading, my shading is based on that. And when I'm done with the 4 greys, I do use the colorless blender to kind of just soften the edges of the grey, so it kind of blends better into my white cardstock. Then, because it is a rather simple card in terms of design, and I've done it quite a few times. I wanted to add something to it, so I've used this card, I think it's Sugar Pea cardstock I've won from a giveaway from a lady on Instagram, and I decided to cut 2 little strips. It's American size, so I trimmed my card so it would fit on that. Then I glued everything onto my card and then I trimmed it. I did it that way and not cutting my card and then gluing it, because I did it last time and it didn't quite fit on the edges and that really annoyed me. So my advice is glue everything onto your card and then make sure your blade is really sharp on your trimmer and then trim it. And I think it works better than you can just use your scissors just to make it smooth on the edge, but I think it's the best way. Now I've stamped my gritting because I needed to make sure of the size of the card before I stamped the gritting to make sure it was in the middle. I add my shading again, so same again, I use my cool grey markers, 7, 5, 3 and 1, and then I think I use a colorless blender. I have a little doubt. And then I think I kind of ran out of batch. Yeah, here it is. I think I kind of ran out of batch from the camera. So I just use this gel pen to add some accent around the word so it pops better. And you can see it on the photo. I think it's a bit more obvious. I think my advice is let the Copic marker dry before you put the gel pen. I then added it all around my flowers and I think it looks pretty cool and it does add something. So I hope you like it. Thank you very much for watching. Head over to my blog for photos and have a great day. Bye!